But welcome. I'm going to give it just a couple minutes here. I've put together something I feel pretty good about. I hope you do too. It's all about how to use a metronome in a way that's really, really helpful to us. Which, as I put this together, I was really taking the time to think about the experiences of the people that I work with who are, it's amazing, let me just say, to work with people that are so committed to playing the clarinet and love it so much and run into roadblocks that are very overcomable. But what it takes a lot of the times is knowing what's kind of running underground. And that's what this exercise is really, this presentation is all about really figuring out how we're looking at the music, what does it mean to us, and how do we look at that and say, all right, I want to learn how to play in time. And let me just say, this isn't part of the presentation. There are a number of things we have to do in time, right? We've got to organize our brains, see the music, see where the beats are, but then we actually have to use our fingers, our breath, and our tongue all as things that are expressing the rhythm. So there's a lot of things going on. And I think it's important as we go through any of this stuff to realize, yes, there is a lot going on, and be patient and gentle and kind with ourselves. A lot of times I think it's very tempting to feel like, oh, I understand how to do this, therefore I should be able to do it. And I'm going to tell you something that this is part of quite honestly my marketing material, because I want everyone to hear this over and over and over. Understanding on its own doesn't translate into ability, right? So we've got to have the understanding. Well, we don't actually even have to have an understanding. We need to figure out a way to cultivate the ability. Understanding oftentimes only serves to frustrate us because we can understand something that we're not quite yet able to do. So what this is about is to give you an understanding and also the skills and the ideas to take this and implement it in what you're doing every day in your practice. That is not going to really be a notable change to anybody who's listening to you practice. All right, so let's get into it. I've got to press a couple buttons. I should be sharing now. Somebody speak up and tell me if I'm not sharing. I should be. And then I'm going to hit present mode so that it's big. All right. So beyond the click, we are going to take a look at this and recognize that the metronome clicking is something that's really great for us. But the right way to use a metronome is to eliminate the need for a metronome. That's an important thing to keep in mind, because when we're playing in any situation, there is almost never a metronome going on, right? I mean, there is in our practice, but in real life, no, not at all. I'm going to see, there's something happening on my screen here. Oh, shoot. Okay, and now I need one more thing. Sorry about this, everybody. And there we go. All right, so we want to take the metronome out of our things that we need in order to play in time. In order to do that, we need to be able to play with the metronome, and then we get to say goodbye to the metronome. That's a really, really important thing. So that's where the name of this came from, beyond the click, because we want to take that click and we want to move beyond it. I need to then click here. Whoop. Okay, so let's think about the goals that we're hoping, the outcomes that we're hoping to think about getting when we are using a metronome. We want, of course, to keep a steady beat. That's something that ultimately we want to be able to do on our own. But we can use the metronome to help us with that. And that's a really, really, an important and basic thing that we're trying to do with the metronome. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to play the right length notes. We're trying to play quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, all these things that we want to play, right? And have them in the right spots and have them organized exactly right. We want to prevent ourselves from rushing or dragging. That's very associated with the steady beat idea of this. We want to count our rests properly. That's important, right? Because rests, when you think about it, are really just the parts of the music that are silent. It's as much music as the notes are music, and they're important to have in the right place. And we want to track our progress. Like if we want to get something up to a certain speed, the metronome can really help us, because it shows us how fast we're playing it. We have like real evidence of what we're doing, and that's a nice thing. And we also want to be able to perfect difficult passages, right? To make sure in a very, very hyper-focused small bit, we're not rushing or dragging, that everything's even, that everything is working out the way that it should. And we want to develop an awareness of subdivision. Because subdivision, we're not going to get all the way to that in this presentation, but we should all be thinking of notes that are faster than the notes that we're playing, in the sense that we are looking to always hear eighth notes or 16th notes. There's a lot of conditional things on that, but we want to work on that. All right. But here's what I found, is that there's two things that we can do to help ourselves reach all of these goals. Now, these ideas are most effective when we kind of put them underground in terms of how we read music, or when we're not reading music. Let's say we have something memorized. We want to conceive of the rhythm and the music in a very, very specific way. And these ideas are going to really, really help you do that. Okay, so these are mindset changes, right? And we want to enhance our control over the rhythm and phrasing and our musical experience. And that really all comes from a couple changes in how we are looking at the music. And I just want to say, I don't know about you, if you learned how to play as an adult and learned some things in a different order, that's great. But I learned things as a kid, and I think a lot of us had our early musical training when we were young. And there are some things that we need to stop doing. And if we haven't stopped doing them, now's the time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to count using the beats of the measure, not the number of beats each note lasts. And like, as somebody who's a listener, we never know what the person performing is doing. How are they doing that? Are they counting one? Like, let's say it's 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or are they counting, like, let's say you have half notes. Are they counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2? Or are they counting 1, 2, 3, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. My suggestion, and I know it works, is to, if you have a half note at the end of a 4/4 measure, that's 3/4. It's not 1, 2. It's 2 beats, but it's beats 3 and 4. And this really helps us keep placed where we are in the music all the time. It's a very, very good strategy, and I'm going to show you how to use it here. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to use that time signature to guide our counting. We want to feel the underlying pulse and meter in the music. I'm going to show you something here real quick. We're going to put the metronome on, so we can count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Because the meter means certain notes are accented differently than certain beats, are accented naturally more than others. And what that means, when we think about language, right, we can always tell if we're meeting somebody where they're speaking their second language because they have an accent. And that accent changes. The reason it is an accent is because what is naturally accented isn't necessarily accented in the way that they're talking, which to me makes a lot of people who speak English as a second language sound incredibly cool. And it's very interesting to me, but it is something that changes the natural flow of things. And so what we want to do is be able to speak music with the natural accents where they belong, so that we don't sound like we're speaking music as a second language. Okay, so we're going to count using the beats in the measure, not the number of beats each note lasts. Step 1, we can use a non-numbered system to track rhythm. I teach little kids in classroom music this system all the time, right? So if I put my metronome on and I count this rhythm, it would sound ta, 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 ta-ti, 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 ta. And then I would hold that out for 4 counts. This is great for kids because they, little kids, they're not as good at counting as the grown-ups. So we don't make them count. We just give them their rhythm, and they speak that rhythm. It's not numbered. It's not anything, right? It's just being able to speak this rhythm, which is great for them. Step 2, assign numbers based on the length of the note. So we would count. This is what I was talking about earlier. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1, and 1, and 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that way we do have a little bit of math involved in this, and it's reinforcing the length of the notes, which at a certain point of learning is an important thing. But being adults that do a lot of complicated things, we can move right to step 3. It might grind our brain a little bit, maybe not in this example, but in more complicated examples. We're going to use the numbers of the beats to assign numbers to the length of the note, right? So, like I was saying, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of the things that you'll notice is I'm saying some of the beats louder than other beats. There's 2 reasons for that, and we're going to get into that later. But one of them is to show the meter. So use the time signature to guide your counting, so you feel the underlying pulse and meter of the music, not just isolated beats. That is pivoting right on what I was just thinking. Every time signature tells the musician the meter of the composition. The meter of the composition tells us which beats get naturally accented. This natural accent accounts for giving each piece its own character and is the foundation of our phrasing choices. It's good stuff. Okay, so in 2/4 time, the beats go strong, weak, strong, weak. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Cool? That is kind of almost the most simple meter we can possibly have. Now in 3/4 time, it goes strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. Any of us that have done ballroom dancing know the waltz, and we know that that physical motion goes along with 3/4 time, because waltzes are all in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we have what's common time, right? Which is surprisingly complicated for common time, which is it goes strong, weak, medium, weak. So beat 1, strong. Beat 2, weak. Beat 3, medium. And beat 4, weak. If you played in a band, you've seen your conductor go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how they conduct. 1 is big. 2 is not big. 3 goes across. Not as big as 1, but it's still pretty big. And then 4. And so we see that in our physical expression of those, we see that in the physical expression of the conductor. We also need to illustrate it in our realization of the music. Okay, so let's look at some examples. We're going to look at 2/4 time. I know there's a lot of people internationally here. I am not entirely sure if this song is international in its prevalence, but anyone in the United States knows this song. We'll put it in 2/4 time. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we hear 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's very much every 2 beats, one of them is stronger than the other ones. That's what makes it such a good song. And for the kids especially. Wheels on the Bus. I've sung that thousands of times. And it's delightful for the first 2. So that is a perfect expression of 2/4 time. Let's look at 3/4 time. And I'm gonna go once again to a kid song, but a very non-kids kid song. So we're gonna feel beat 1 stronger than the other beats. This one has a pickup on beat 3. I don't know if you can notice what it is before I play it. You'll know it once I start playing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Turn that off. Yes, so this is Brahms' Lullaby, and we can really feel that meter, right? So not only are we counting the notes based on where they are, beat 1, beat 2, or beat 3, we are utilizing the natural accent in the music to help us keep our place and make the music sound like the music is supposed to sound, which is wonderful. Let's look at 4/4 time. Strong, weak, medium, weak. I don't know where this is from. This is like a famous melody, or maybe it's not, I don't know, but it does express 4/4 time very well. Where beat 1 is strong, beat 3 is stronger, and beat 2 and 4 not strong at all. So these exercises are relatively simple, but they really do illustrate what it is that we need to think about when we're using the metronome, how to align ourselves with the metronome, and how to stay with the metronome for a long time, and as steps move forward, to get ourselves away from the metronome. So let's look at an etude real quick. This is out of Melodious and Progressive, Book 1. This is etude number 2. So let's just take a quick look at it. Let me show you how I look at this music and I'm able to process it in a way that allows me to play it without overloading my processors. So some general rules when determining which notes beats are on. The first note is on beat 1. I'm saying this, I know this is obvious, but sometimes we don't think of this. If we're thinking of 1 and that's the strongest beat, we should be, visually speaking, at the beginning of the measure. I mean, that sounds obvious, but when I hear people trying to play with a metronome, sometimes I hear that they're not doing that. And I just want to make sure that we say what's obvious and move on. Notes that are beamed together, like these eighth notes. The first note of the group is on the beat. That is 99% of the time true, right? So we can see the beginning of any of these groups that are beamed together are going to be on a beat. If the music is printed properly, most of it is, you should know every active beat as obviously as possible. Now, and what's an active beat? Well, that is a beat where something happens. A note changes. A note starts or something happens. Let's look at the active beats here. These are the beats we're going to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Right? So let's just take a look at these first two measures. Yeah, like beat 2, nothing happens. Beat 2, nothing happens. Beat 4, there's a rest, that's important, but it's not so much a physical activity that we're going to take. Right? So what happens next? When we count this music internally, the counting will sound like this. I'm going to turn the metronome on and do this. Here's the first line, right? And so I've written this out. 1, I put the passive beats with parentheses down here. So if you can, go ahead and look at the music. It represents a different version of what we're looking at here. Let me check my time, make sure I'm good. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna count the ands. I'm gonna start over again. Sorry about that. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. I forgot the and of 2. Sorry about that. I'm not going to go back for it. Turn off. And then let's look at the second line, where I didn't write the ands in because that was very, very hard to see everything. So that's why I wrote them down here. Let's look at this second line. It's important to be able to speak your music like this and take the clarinet out of it for a second, because playing the rhythms, when you add in playing the notes and playing the clarinet, which is complicated, it can make it hard to process all of it all at once. So we've got different things processed in our brains. We want to get it separated so that we can nail it and then move on from there. So let's speak this second line. 1, 2, let's count. And 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and. Right? It's difficult. Whenever we see one of these friends over here with just a flag. That can be on the beat or off the beat. This one happens to be off the beat. That's the whole thing. If I had all day, I would love to tell you all about it, but I don't. We only have, 10 more minutes. Let's get to it. These ideas should help you play with the metronome more easily and more accurately, right? So that's what we're looking for, is to separate it out, be able to count it out, and then be able to play along, which is still very much within the beat. But wait. We're supposed to go beyond the click, and that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go beyond the click with this famous musical excerpt. I need to make sure I'm sharing my sound right now, which I'm going to, forgive me, I'm going to be a little bit wonky, make sure my sound, turn off original sound, share computer sound. I'm glad I checked that. Oh, I got to type a password in for some reason. We'll check that that's on. Share computer sound, it's not. Let me double check that it's on. Share computer sound, it is. All right, so let me go back to what I was sharing before. Boom. Is it still sharing? That's the right thing? I hope so. Okay, somebody shout at me if not. All right, so I don't know if anybody recognizes this. This is the Weber Concertino, the theme. Well, there was my playing that was going to happen. So we are going to do this with 4 beats in a measure, 2 beats in a measure, and then 1 beat in a measure. So that this is how we practice with the metronome. This is intermediate to advanced technique, but everybody should be aware of it. And you can do this with simple music. You can do it with complicated music. You can do it with any music. So here it is. This is going to be at 168, I think. Maybe I got to hit it one more time. There it is. Good. So that's using 4 beats in a measure. The tempo of the piece, of the edition I was looking at, said 84. So I turned that into 168, so I get 4 beats in a measure, because that, although it says quarter note equals 84, that's supposed to be half note equals 84. Okay. Okay, so now, I wish I could mute this. Now what we're going to hear is, I'm going to let myself play, hold on. The next thing we're going to hear is in 2 on beats 1 and 3. So it's going to be 1, 3, 1, 3. So that's going to be in cut time 1, 2, 1, 2. Here it goes. So that's the right meter, beating on 1 and 3. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. But if we want to get really, really solid, we want to get really super strong with our internal beat, all those things that we talked about in the beginning, we got to put the, why just 1 and 3? Let's do 2 and 4. So the metronome's going to click 2 and 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cool. So what if we take the metronome all the way down to 42? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. What's going on? Okay. This is going crazy. Hold on, sorry. Okay. Where do we want to be? Okay. We want to be here. And I'm going to put this in present mode. This is beat on 42 beats a minute. So this is half speed. So we're going to have 1 beat per measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Good. What if we put that beat, that one single beat, on beat 3? Three, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. What if we put that beat on beat 2? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And let's put that friend on beat 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why that's there. Okay, right. So here we go. So there's the idea, is that you are taking responsibility for some, but not all of the beats. And in doing that, also forcing you to put the meter in there as well. Even though the metronome is not helping you with that. The metronome is actually working against you. So you have to very strongly establish the meter that you're playing in. The next thing that we can do is use, I was going to perform this, I've run out of time, but there are 2 apps that we can use that I know of. I'm sure there's more probably by now that drop beats. One is called Time Guru. It's a terrific app, very simple to use, that it will play 100% of the beats like a regular metronome, or you can have it drop random beats out so that you have to be much more engaged with the metronome. And so it'll drop anywhere between 0% and 100% of the beats out, right? And this Tonal Energy app is a great tuner and a great metronome. It's a super complicated device. The interface is challenging, but it does the same thing with the metronome and happens to be a great tuner as well as metronome. So that's a fantastic thing. So those 2 things will really help you. I'm sorry I'm not able to give you a demonstration of that. Right. So here's what we're going to do. This is taking us beyond the click in 2 different ways. Leaving the click out with a traditional metronome, taking more responsibility with the beats, or having the metronome do that work for you and drop the beats out. This is going to take these steps. It's going to take some time. This isn't something that's going to change. We have to do the underground work of how we're looking at it, conceiving of the music first. That's really, really important. That has to happen before we can take these other steps with success, right? And be patient with yourself and go beyond the click. I left about 0 time for questions. But if anyone does have a question, I'd be happy to hear it. Unmute and shout it out. Anybody? We've got literally 2 minutes left. Is everyone that stunned with the brilliance of this? I don't think so. Come on. Somebody ask me a question. Anybody? Just say, like, let me ask a question. What's the first thing I should do? Well,
How to do it on the tonal energy, the random note.
Well, okay. So on the Tonal Energy, you would have to, first of all, I have to find my Tonal Energy app. You go to the metronome at the bottom, and then there's a little guy. There's a little purple guy above the play button.
Yeah.
You press the purple guy, and then random beat silencing is one of the.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. No, I'm happy to help. So really do this with the simplest music you have first, right? Consider this idea of scaffolding. We don't want to start with something complicated and apply a complicated practice to it, right? Start with something simple, like a C major scale in half notes or even whole notes, and do this, right? So that you can get used to the idea of implementing these ideas on something that is really, really deep inside you. Because if you were to try it on the Weber Concerto, it would be really, really hard. It would be really, really hard. So do keep that in mind as you are teaching yourself how to do this, that we need to have, if we're introducing something new, this goes for anything, really ratchet down the complexity of the thing that you're playing. Breakout rooms in progress. We're out. We're done. Okay.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about jazz, which would be 2 and 4.
Yes.
And I'm having real problems with it.
To me, I played a lot of jazz in my life. I'm good enough that my mom doesn't know that I'm terrible at it. But all the jazz guys know I'm not good at it. But it's mostly as an improvisation thing. But really, if you count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's really the only way to get yourself in on counting on 2 and 4. 1, click, 2, click, 1, 2, 3, 4.
What do you mean?
That
Do two, and then do four? What do you
well, I mean,
think?
like whenever a jazz band conductor conducts it, he always goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're hearing the clicks on 2 and 4. 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you learn how to snap really loud, that's also very helpful. We got 1 second. It's been great to